Hey, Time Machine fans! This episode is Southwick's Curious Coop, a Prohibition-era story which first appeared in the May 2022 edition of Southwood's magazine. Anyway, let's dive right in, so here we go. It was not the henhouse itself, so to speak, that sparked much curiosity amongst some Southwick residents in 1922, but more so the placement of it, and the fact that it had something other henhouses were lacking, a chimney. Local carpenter Thomas Adamwitz was no stranger to authorities. He lived on Southwick Road in Westfield, had constructed the cute little henhouse about 3/4 of a mile away on a property in Southwick, not far from the Southwick-Westfield town line. He also set it back in the woods, roughly 3/4 of a mile from the newly constructed state highway. Just to note, College Highway was officially dedicated on May 22nd, 1923. Anyway, nearby, a small brook that once trickled into the valley had been dammed up using large boards, buried deep in the sand. Perhaps it was the chimney, or rather the smoke coming out of it, or maybe it was the townfolk's gossip that eventually caught the attention of a suspicious deputy sheriff, who then filed a complaint with federal authorities. Acting on that complaint, federal prohibition enforcement agents Edgar Davis and J. Albert Tomlin traveled to Southwick to investigate. Immediately seeing something was amiss, they raided the henhouse under the cover of darkness on July 26, 1922. During the raid, some 100 chickens were milling about as the agents, fighting off rats, took notice of other oddities besides the chimney. First, they thought it strange that the henhouse floor was concrete, quite a luxury for a chicken coop. Second, they questioned why there was no stove to match the stovepipe. It looked like the stovepipe stopped and was level with the floor, yet smoke continually poured out of the chimney. One of the agents suggested they dig around the henhouse, so they obtained some shovels and started digging. With much effort, they dug and dug and dug, and finally one of them hit something hard, a piece of board. Freeing and removing the board revealed that it sealed the stone entrance leading to a cave under the henhouse. The agents were immediately taken by surprise when out of the pitch-black darkness of the cave came two dogs rushing towards them. Agent Tomlin ducked out of the path of the attacking dogs. He then turned, drew his gun, and fired a shot, killing one of the dogs, which turned out to be an Irish Terrier. The gunshot startled the other dog, an Airedale, which released its grip after having sunk its teeth into the rear end of Agent Davis, tearing his trousers in the process. As a precaution, the agents permanently silenced him, too. The agents got some lanterns to light their way. Once inside, they found a large 25-gallon still with double coils and several condensers, busy making the evil brew of Prohibition. They also found pipes used for diverting the dammed-up water of the brook. Nearby sat 5 gallons of illegal whiskey. Several barrels and containers filled with some 200 gallons of mash were scattered about. Confident they had their man, agents Tomlin and Davis headed to the Adamwitz residence to find Thomas. Now, Thomas Adamwitz gave authorities a slip before, and that escape boosted his self-confidence. He became cocky. In a highly embarrassing situation about a year earlier, authorities had stopped him in Westfield and searched his trash, only to find household garbage. This time would be different. The agents weren't about to let that happen again, so they dotted their I's and crossed their T's. But little did the agents know that the barking and growling of the now silenced dogs had alerted Thomas's wife. However, the agent successfully served notice on her bootlegger husband, informing him that he must appear before the federal commissioner, but the case was delayed because the commissioner was wrapping up a month-long vacation. Anyway, the agents broke up the dam and the little brook flowed again. They also seized evidence needed for trial, and with the henhouse quiet, they went over to the Southwick Inn, where they recounted their exciting tale. And everyone at the Southwick Inn got a good laugh when Agent Davis showed off his trousers with the torn seat. But the agent's laughter was short-lived after the United States Commissioner ordered Adamwitz discharged on September 9th. When Adamwitz was arraigned back in August, he pleaded not guilty to the illegal manufacturing and possession of alcohol. Agent Davis testified on behalf of the government at the September 9th hearing. Following Davis's testimony, the commissioner declared the raid illegal because it lacked a search warrant. Now, in a twisted turn of events, it's interesting to note that Tomlin, now a former agent, was not present at the hearing, for he had been arrested and charged with stealing 5 barrels of seized wine and hard cider from the government. The illegal drink was in transit to the Bay State Storage Warehouse in Springfield when it went missing following a raid on the Jerry Farm in Southwick. Now, fans of the Southwick Time Machine will recognize that name, as the Jerry's appeared in a handful of stories on the Time Machine before. Anyway, Agent Davis and an unidentified man who posed as an agent during the theft were arrested and later tried. Davis, who turned a blind eye after failed attempts to stop the then agent Tomlin, was found not guilty and was able to return to work. And just to note, Thomas Adamwitz was arrested again, this time in 1925, for keeping explosive liquor for sale. And Massachusetts voters repealed state enforcement of Prohibition in 1930, but at the time it remained a violation of federal law. You can read Southwick's Curious Coop online on the Southwick Time Machine app. www.southwicktimemachine.com. The complete story is there, as are any edited out portions and additional research notes. If you like the video story, click the like button below and drop a comment. It's your feedback interaction that keeps the time machine going. I can't stress that enough, so please do your part and help us out. And with that said, stay tuned, because you never know where the Southwick Time Machine will take you next as we continue our mission of preserving history through storytelling. Until next time, thank you for watching.